Friend, did you know you can borrow money from Cash App? You ain't know that, friend? Come over here, let me talk to you real quick. When I first became eligible to borrow money from Cash App, they gave me $200. Now I'm at $700. In order to become eligible, you must use your Cash App card and you must spend over $500 a month. Now, they may start you out small, but the more money you spend on Cash App, you're going to be up there. I've had people tell me they can borrow up to $2,000 and sometimes a little more. Now, let me show you how to go through the process of borrowing money. I'm about to borrow $700 and they're going to charge me $52.50. That's not a lot of money. I feel like if you want to borrow money, borrow the max and then just pay it back. Because if you borrow $100 today and gotta borrow $200 tomorrow and then
Wait a second. Don't speed past that. You're about to borrow $700 and they're charging you what? See, people just act like they didn't just hear key information and like it's not impactful.
Cash App, you're gonna be up there. I've had people tell me they can borrow up to $2,000 and sometimes a little more. Now let me show you how to go through the process of borrowing money. I'm about to borrow $700 and they're gonna charge me $52.50. That's not a lot of money.
Did she just say she's borrowing $700 and they're going to charge her $52? So is that like interest that they're charging you to be able to take out the $700? Let me let her finish, but don't just skip past that, ma'am. That's a lot. So really, I'll tell you.
And I feel like if you want to borrow money, borrow the max and then just pay it back. Because if you borrow $100 today and gotta borrow $200 tomorrow and then $500, like them fees are going to add up. You know what I'm saying? So go to borrow. You can borrow any amount up to $700. It's going to show you your finance charge and make sure you're okay with paying the fees. Then it's
No.
sure you're okay with paying the
These people are lost. You still have to pay that money back. Look at this. They're charging you over $50 as a finance charge, they call it. So you got to pay that, and I guess you get the $700 that you still gonna owe on. That's how they doing, y'all.
fee. Then it's going to ask you to choose your repayment schedule. You can pay it all at once as you get money or weekly. If you know me, I'm doing monthly because what if I got the money in between time, you know? So you have to agree that if you do not pay this money on time, they will charge you a one-time fee
And they're
of
still
$5.
charging you.
And they might even take your borrowing away. Once you agree to the terms, the money is going to go back to your cash out balance. And I got $700. Let me go ahead and pay my credit card with this money on. Catch me in the next video, friend. Okay, I'll call you back later. Friend.
And it got way more sinister. Oh, this is just going haywire. So you done paid this fee just for you to pay off your credit card?
Cash App gonna talk about something. Do you want to borrow $2,000? Yes. You know I can use $2,000. I owe you $750 right now. You gonna take it on Friday, and then I'm gonna borrow it right back. That's been our relationship for the last 3 months. It's give and take. So don't gaslight me talking about some do you need $2,000. Yes. And you know it. If you're going to give it to me, just give it to me. I'm going to talk about do you need it. I don't care about it if it's a trap. Yeah. I don't care about it if it's a trap. I took it. Now I owe $2,750. Whatever. You take it, I'm going to borrow it right back. Shit, I ain't the only one. Cash App gonna talk about something. Do you want?
So let me get this straight. We saw what they charge as like a convenience fee or whatever for taking out 700. They charge 52. If he's taking out 2,000, then let's just roundabout say that they're gonna charge him about 150 to get that money. So I mean, this makes sense to y'all. See, it's no wonder why they can't just take out the credit cards. Their credit's probably shot because just listen to his mindset. Listen to his philosophy about why he does it and how he does it. And it's really sad because these are two older individuals. These are y'all aunties, these are y'all uncles, y'all mamas, y'all daddies. just horrible financial stewards and giving horrible financial information. Y'all, before we get into the next clip, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype
me about Cash App Borrow, let's break it. A lot of people have been asking me about Cash App Borrow. Let's break it down real quick. Cash App Borrow is like a short-term loan that Cash App is going to give you if you need money in a pinch. So the borrow feature is actually something that's already automatically in the app, and depending on how long you've had Cash App, it'll determine how much money you can actually borrow. Now, I do want to make a disclaimer. This is not free money. So this is money you actually are going to have to pay back to Cash App, and a lot of times the repayment periods are about 4 weeks. Now, please do keep in mind there is a 5% flat fee. So if you borrow $100, you'll have to pay $105 back. Please do keep that in mind. I believe this is Cash App's way of trying to stay competitive with other competitors like Affirm and Klarna. So if you're going to use it, please make sure you use it wisely. Let me know any questions below and follow me for more. A lot of people have been
Cash App then updated my goddamn borrow limit. They said I could get up to $700. Oh, they done fucked up. I'm about to get some shoes, pay a bill. Get something to eat. We going up from here. If we in business like this, I started off with 150. Now I'm up to 700. Huh? Y'all get close to my rent now. It's gonna be a while, but y'all get close to that rent. We gonna up.
Listen, man, I wasn't mad at him. If you got to pay your bill, you got to get something to eat. I'm not mad at that. But then the first thing he said was get some shoes. That was the first thing that came to his mind. Then he was like, pay a bill. And then get something to eat. Listen, let's go back to the younger guy with the thing on his head, right? I noticed that he had to preface it and he had to let the audience know, just so you know, this is not free money. You do have to pay it back. You got to let people know that now. People got to be explained that, no, you're not just, nobody's just out here giving away free money. You have to pay this back. A major corporation isn't just giving free money for nothing. They're not a foundation. So the fact, I just found that funny that the fact that he even had to explain that and like preface that kind of shows the state of the world and the way people just think.
Y'all, I don't know if it's just me, but I know I'm not the only motherfucker that be borrowing money from motherfucking Cash App. And then it's like, you just look and see how much money you borrow, and every time you get some money, it go back into the fucking borrowing. And then it's like, am I gonna be in debt for the rest of my life? Because every time the borrow takes some money out of my shit, I literally take it right back out. Like, what are y'all doing? I don't even know why Cash App even put that on there. Like, why did y'all even put the borrow on Cash App? Like, it do come in handy, I'm not going to lie. Every time you get a little money on there, it go up. But baby, I owe Cash App $400. Cash App. Is y'all serious? Y'all knew exactly what y'all was doing. Y'all trying to make motherfuckers get into debt and lose their motherfucking credit. Y'all got me fucked up. I'm on to Cash App. Because there's no way. It's no motherfucking way that every time I gotta borrow some money from Cash App. Like, it's ridiculous. Y'all.
In my opinion, these are the only people who should be falling for these scams. And by only people, I mean young people should be the only ones who can be susceptible to falling for this craziness. But as we saw at the beginning, it's grown folks as well who just don't have no sense, no common sense, I should add. Because really think about the cycle in the loop that she's putting herself in. It probably a lot of people are, right? They borrow the money and then they try to, with those fees included, and then they're grinding to try to pay it back. Or when they get their check, they try to pay it back just so they could borrow it again. And they're in a cycle, in a loop, in a habit of this, right? So probably every month, or let's just be real, every 2 weeks, every time they get paid, they'll probably pay it down so that they can borrow it again. And every time they borrow it, they get hit with those fees. So she was talking about $700. Let's just say she gets hit with the $50 fee every 2 weeks because she pays it down when she gets paid just so she can take it back out. It's like the rob Peter to pay Paul cycle, right? So every 2 weeks, you're getting hit with a $50 fee. So $100 a month. So by the end of the year, you done gave away $1,200. Keep in mind, $1,200 after tax money. $1,200 that you netted, you just gave that away. And really, had you not done that, that could have been 1 month of your rent. People not thinking. I can understand when it's younger people like this who don't think like that, but how you been living this long and you can't do simple math and and you don't understand the play and the scam ultimately that's getting ran on you.
I just came across somebody video and ignore all this. That's why I'm in here. I'm working on reorganizing, cleaning, washing, all that stuff. But anyways, how are y'all owing so much money to Cash App? Like, I know they got this whole borrow thing that you can do, and the most I got, I'm at $350. I know some people say they owe 600 something, 800. They limit 1,000. How?
A damn minute. You can borrow from Cash App. You can borrow from when they started doing that? What's happening? Let me see something about to be in debt again.
How the fuck am I in debt with Cash App? How am I in debt with the Cash App? The app that I'm supposed to put the cash in. How y'all get me in debt?
I'm not going in debt. I'm not going in debt. Y'all support me. Go.
So, did you guys know that you can borrow from Cash App? Yes, you can borrow from Cash App. So someone sent me a Cash App, and I went and checked it a couple days later because I actually forgot. And then I saw something says up to $200. It's like, oh. However, this should be used as a short-term loan. So if you have a last-minute car repair or emergency, or you need to pay a bill, use that for that, right? We have to be disciplined and we have to be responsible. Now, this does not report to the credit bureaus, but it doesn't help your credit either. So this is just a last-minute loan that Cash App is offering you, and then you pay that back throughout the loan. So if you get other Cash Apps, you can put money on that. And so just use it as an emergency, basically, if you need to have it. I thought it was pretty cool because, we coming out of Christmas. I know it's February 1st, so happy Black History Month. However, use it responsibly. And to my knowledge, I went back into Cash App and it went up to $500. So I can get up to $500 if I need it. So like, share, comment if you liked this content.
Yeah, I understand. She's saying this stuff for a reason, right? Listen, man. I try to be reasonable, right? So obviously you should have an emergency fund for emergencies, right? But I understand that people are going to say, well, not everybody can save for the emergency, or maybe we drained our emergency fund and then another emergency came. Okay, cool. But understand what she's saying. She's saying this does not report to the credit bureaus. Basically, this is just between you and Cash App. And that's how it works with the Affirm and Klarna as well, I believe. And see, a lot of people, let me just say this. I met somebody at the gym one time and he was trying to convince me to like do something like that, like pay with the Affirm, like order something online. And it's funny, he said he might have been a scammer or something. But he had the information. He was like, and if you order something like from one of these Japanese companies like Shein or something, whatever, then it's really good because they're international companies or something. And basically he was just like, either way, you don't have to pay it back. Basically, it doesn't report to your credit, and they can't sue you or something. Or of course they can sue you, but would they really go through the trouble of doing that, especially for small amounts? So basically, people want to eventually get it to the point to where they take off the Cash App, right? They take $1,000 off Cash App, and then they never give it back. And then so they look at that like they would have just had that free money when the situation is all said and done. It's just like the eviction videos where we watch, right? Where eventually They want to allow it to build up to a point to where they've had all these months for free, and then they never have any intention of ever paying it back, and they want to feel like they actually came up in the situation and ultimately profited in the situation. And so I think explaining that, and I think that's what a lot of people view this as once they really understand the structure and the fact that this is not like a traditional credit card or bank loan, right?
Friends, so y'all know when I give y'all a scenario and I be like, I'm finna rob Peter to pay Paul. Well, that's what I'm finna do today, okay? I have a total of 8 credit cards. I think I still got a balance on like 3 of them. And those 3 are with Capital One. But we finna talk about the one that I owe $700 on. Now, I personally don't have the $700 right now. But I can borrow $700 from Cash App Borrow, okay? My credit card is due by the 2nd. Now, I always tell y'all, I don't care what I gotta do. Them credit cards gonna get paid by the statement date. So, I'm gonna wait maybe another day or 2, and I'm gonna pull that money from Cash App Borrow. That way, I won't have to pay it back so fast. You see what I'm saying? So, I'm gonna take that $700 and I'm gonna pay my credit card with Capital One as a debit payment. So, the money gonna come out of my Cash App account. So, that way, I don't pay my credit card by my statement date, which is the 7th. And I just owe Cash App Borrow. I honestly don't like to owe too much money on my Cash App Borrow because you got to pay that full amount back. So whenever I get some extra money in between time, I'm just going to add it to it so I won't have to pay the whole $700 every month. That's how you rob Peter to pay Paul. And that's why I utilize all my apps. I utilize my credit card and I utilize my Buy Now Pay Later app. My bar apps, I don't give a damn. And my daily pay. Okay, bye friend. I'll call you back later. Hey friends. So
Well, and here's the crazy thing about it. Like, I don't think she knows that she's doing this, but she actually might be doing the smarter thing by using the Cash App to pay her credit card. Because if we remember, based on her 700 limit, it was charging her about $50. And, $50 is like 10% of $500. So that means, $700, $50, that's like what, 7%, 6%? And obviously, we know credit cards, if you're late, their interest rates are like well in the 20s. I don't know how that works month to month. So maybe it wouldn't be smart, like as far as the minimum payments and the interest accruing on it. But it could be. But I don't think she's really looking at it. Ultimately, what I'm trying to convey is if you're going to do this, at least do it smart. Whereas you're comparing the interest rates, and if you're going to pay that off, just make sure that whatever you're paying on this other interest rate that is lower than the one that you're paying off with it. Because like she said, she's just robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? So she can pay her credit card on time. And if the interest rate is lower, and so you could pay your credit card, and obviously that will also have a direct impact on your credit as well, because it'll show that you're paying your stuff on time. And obviously, with credit cards, you're more invested to make sure that you pay those on time because you're building a relationship and you're showing a track record. And even just with the personal relationship with the bank, the beauty of that is eventually what you can do is, every 6 months or so, you can actually go to them and ask them to increase your limits, which can also help as well. But I wish she would have explained that if that's what she's doing. I don't think that she's like viewing it like that or like really having the numbers in front of her and making the calculations. But if that was something you were going to do strategically, then that's what you should do. But at the same time, I don't even think things should get this complex when you're broke. So if that is something like, if you're doing all them calculations, just do something, just make more money. Figure out what you need to do, get some skills to make more money before you're trying to do all these calculations, right? Just ultimately, right?
Never approaches anything. The limit does not exist. The limit does not exist.
Happy Friday, y'all. I thought I would come through and drop a jewel real quick. Did y'all know that Cash App lets you borrow money now? Available to borrow. This is on Cash App. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you exactly where you got to go. Pull up your Cash App, click on the little home button in the bottom left corner. Once you click on the home button, scroll down and you'll see where it says manage and it's going to say borrow. You click on the borrow and it'll tell you how much you're allowed to borrow. I'm just letting you know it works. I don't know if you know. I don't know if you've ever looked at it, but it actually works. So quick plug. Before you call and ask to borrow money, borrow it from Cash App first. Borrow it from Cash App. I'm just letting you know it works. And I tried it. You can see that I tried it because I didn't know it worked. It actually works. It lets you borrow money now. So, just a quick Friday jewel, man. If today's not your payday, I apologize. But here you go. You can borrow some more money. Just a jewel, man.
So I got a message request asking to do a video on how to borrow money from Cash App. I'm going to show you how. And no, you do not need direct deposit set up on Cash App to borrow. I don't have direct deposit set up, and I've had the borrow feature for about a year now. So let me show you how to do it. So you want to open your Cash App up, and then you want to go to this tab right here. When you open it, you're going to scroll down and it will be a borrow feature if you're eligible to borrow. You'll click that. I have $125 that I can borrow from Cash App. Cash App does allow you to borrow up to $200. And then it'll say like what your fee is. So I'll pay like $6 back to it or whatever. So I'll end up paying this amount back. I click next. And I can repay as I get cash. So that means anytime I get money to my Cash App, it'll just take from that loan. Or I can change my repayment schedule. So I can get, as I get cash, 4 weekly payments, or I can pay all at once by September.
Listen, here's the thing, right? I'm somebody who believes in, I like options. I like having options. I like having multiple things to pull from. I don't like having too much in real time because I like to be able to make decisions quicker. But I do like having options, right? But I will be honest, this is not an option that I want to explore. I've had a Cash App for a while. I'm sure I'll probably get a pretty nice balance, but I already know what it is. And that's why I never even indulged in like the afterpay type scams, the Affirm, the Klarna. I've never even delved into those because it's like, it's just so obvious. And I remember I had a friend who was working for Affirm, I believe. And I'm like, I remember I was just thinking to myself when I realized the business model, I'm like, man, I couldn't work for that company. And it was pretty early on too. Like I was like, I could not work for a company like that where that's what they do. And then even in my mind, I was thinking like, I didn't even think it was gonna grow for real. I didn't think that it was gonna be successful. I didn't even think the business model made sense. But fast forward to today, and it's just continuing to grow and grow and grow. Because I was thinking through my logic of people aren't gonna fall for this. Nobody in their right mind they're not gonna have the masses giving them business and using these platforms when it's clear what's going on and it's clear what their business model is. But here I stand corrected. And people are falling for these things. And see, even as you can see, I guess, Cash App joined the party and it's just everything is just going. Everything is running smoothly. And they're making money because in my mind, I'm thinking, here's how I was evaluating the business model. I'm just like, they're giving money and loaning money to people who clearly can't go and get money from any other source because they've already been deemed as people who are not trustworthy with lending to. And their business model is to lend to people who are in destitute situations or have bad track records and bad history of borrowing. So in my mind, that just didn't make any sense. But all these things are still thriving right now. I think that is incredible. I think that is really incredible. And I still haven't really done much in-depth research into how they're making their money or how they're hedging against that. But they're clearly still around. They're clearly still running because I thought they would go out of business. But y'all, we'll leave it there for today. If you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype the video. Hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button and it shows the points. And since I'm a smaller content creator, we actually get more points per hype, and it was designed for smaller channels. And that's why. And then also Patreon's link below if you want to see self-improvement content as well. But until then, I'll catch you in the next video.